special look at the Fantastic Four.
Welcome back, everyone. It's Charlie. Marvel and Kevin Feige just showed off a new version of the Fantastic Four trailer. We got a much better look at Galactus. We learned how the movie is bringing Franklin Richards to the MCU and how his story from the comics is tied to Galactus in the movie in the MCU. We also learned what's going on with Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom character, because this movie is like the last movie that Marvel is releasing before Avengers 5 Doomsday. Kevin Feige literally just said that right after this movie, all the characters come to Avengers 5, meaning that all those characters from their universe will show up in the MCU during Avengers 5. So we'll break it all down. If you're brand new to the channel, be sure to subscribe to get all the videos. Notice the trailer starts with a 1960s highlight reel that plays across the entire trailer as if it's a news team inside their world during the 1960s trying to hype up their team to the people of the rest of the world.
This equation not only confirms alternate dimensions, it suggests that parallel Earths exist on different dimensional planes.
I don't know if we're going to see it just like this during the movie, or if this will be playing on the background on a monitor, or if like one of the Fantastic Four characters will be watching this after they get their powers, because as Kevin Feige said, the movie's not meant to be an origin story. They did reveal that there will be some kind of montage at the beginning of the movie that would basically speed run their origin story, them getting the powers, fighting the low-level villains, because when the movie picks up, they're already supposed to have their powers. But they need a way to sort of introduce the team and their backstory to brand new audiences who haven't seen the classic Chris Evans Fantastic Four movies, everybody remembering Deadpool and Wolverine. Just because things are going to get so crazy by the time we get to Avengers 6 Secret Wars, and they want people to understand who these characters are and differentiate them from other Fantastic Four characters. Speaking of Secret Wars Battleworld and giant crossovers, thank you to Marvel Strike Force for sponsoring this week's video. They're currently celebrating the holiday season with the introduction of the Null character in-game in a brand new game mode called Battleworld, based on Marvel Comics' Secret Wars, in a bunch of new characters from across the multiverse, like the Sinister Six, the Spider-Force, Nova, Deadpool and Wolverine, of course, Dr. Doom, and a ton more deep cuts based on the Secret Wars comics. Null is one of the bosses of Battleworld. It's a new PvE mode where you can play with your alliance. If you're a new or returning player, there's a bunch of new in-game rewards they're releasing to celebrate his introduction. And because of the Halloween holiday recently, they're also introducing Zombie Iron Man based on Marvel Studios' What If, Blade, Zombie Scarlet Witch, Zombie Juggernaut, Moon Knight, Spider-Man Noir, Ghost Spider, and a whole bunch more. Assemble your team, mix and match characters from all over the Marvel multiverse to dominate single-player games, enjoy different types of game modes like campaigns, blitz, arena play. There's also the Alliance War, a massive weekly battle, raids, the Cosmic Crucible, and PvP play that you can have against your friends tournament style. You can use my promo code Halloween to receive 100 shards for Zombie Iron Man, 600k gold, and 480 L2 training modules for free. So download Marvel Strike Force for free using the link in the description, or simply scan the QR code here on screen. And everyone have a great holiday of games. You notice the footage, and Kevin Feige also confirmed at Comic-Con that this is going to be a period piece with the team coming from the 1960s, 1963, 1964 specifically, in an alternate universe, explaining how nobody in the MCU has ever known or talked about the Fantastic Four. The reel starts with the 1960s looking logo. Remember, all this design is meant to be 1960s era. Reed Richards is in the middle of leading a class, showing them an equation that explains how alternate dimensions exist in the concept of parallel Earths. We actually saw a version of Eric Selvig doing this during Thor the Dark World 2. It's kind of his version of this inside the 1960s of this universe.
Parallel Earths exist on different dimensional planes.
He explains alternate dimensions, the concept of parallel Earths to them. It's something that's also referenced in the Deadpool and Wolverine movie, but when Chris Evans' Human Torch meets Deadpool and Wolverine, he says that his version of Reed Richards told him about the theory of alternate universes, alternate versions of Earth. This team, their version of the team, winds up traveling to the MCU universe by the end of the movie somehow. So this whole information dump here that Pedro Pascal's Reed Richards is doing in this mock info reel is a set of concepts they're paying off later in the movie. They have a funny moment in the trailer with the kids in the class acting like they're super bored and falling asleep. The movie is supposed to feature Franklin Richards and maybe Valeria Richards to their children. I think that Franklin Richards is supposed to be born at some point during the movie, and Galactus showing up will have something to do with Franklin Richards. Supposedly the movie is meant to get into some of their weird connection in the comics, which just goes way back to a bunch of different stories across history. Franklin Richards is supposed to be one of the most powerful characters in the Marvel Universe of the comics. He basically has the ability to create completely alternate universes. In the more recent version of comic book Secret Wars, his power is critical to the way they rebuild the multiverse after they get off of Battleworld. Reed Richards fires up the rocket that's going to power their spaceship in the classroom. All the kids get really excited. This is an aerial shot of New York City. This super tall structure is meant to be their version of the Baxter Building. The pad in the East River is the landing pad for their spaceship. They're calling this the Excelsior launch pad in the movie, which is a huge Stan Lee reference. A lot of longtime comic book fans will remember this. Excelsior is one of Stan Lee's longtime catchphrases.
Excelsior.
Part of the idea of the Fantastic Four is that they are Marvel's first family. It's one of Stan Lee's very first big comic book teams that he introduced. I think the first time that Stan Lee ever used the Excelsior phrase was in a 1968 soapbox column. They're using the term in the movie with the meaning that Stan Lee used in real life. It's meant to mean upward, onward to greater glory. This is what the Fantastic Car looked like. They actually flew a drone-powered, real-life version around in Comic-Con. The reason why you're not seeing any wires as it's flying around the Comic-Con audience is because it's flying on a balloon drone. Down at Governor's Island here on the map, notice there's a Fantastic Four clean energy facility, making it seem like Reed Richards in this timeline develops clean energy in the 1960s, completely changing the way technology on this Earth develops. I think that's meant to give this version of Earth the retro futurism vibes based on real-life art history. Like, this is meant to be what it looks like on their Earth right now. We see footage of them suiting up in their spacesuits, powering up their rocket. Reed Richards calls Ben Grimm the best pilot in the world, who jokes he's the best looking. That's meant to be a bit of an ironic twist because he becomes the Thing and then thinks he's the most hideous thing on planet Earth. You probably recognize Eben Moss-Bacharach. He also played Micro during the Punisher series. He's also fantastic, to make a Fantastic Four pun on the bear. I'm pretty sure that this means that he will not return as his version of Micro, though. You hear Sue Storm showing them around the Baxter Building, showing them where the kitchen is to these reporters as they show footage of the Fantastic Car taking off. Reed Richards then says that they make a point to have a family dinner once a week, with them interviewing them inside the Baxter Building, like inside their home. He says Sunday every week on the dot, emphasizing the family aspect of the team. Notice the clothes they're wearing too. It seems like a lot of the movie will show footage of them from before their accident giving them powers. But like I said, most of the movie will not be an origin story. So like they'll already have their powers pretty early in the movie. When he says no matter what, like we're all here no matter what for family dinner, that feels like a line they'll pay off later in the movie when things get real and Galactus shows up. They show a wider shot of them leaving the Baxter Building in their new spacesuits. This footage is kind of blurry, so I can't quite make out the designs of the Fantastic Four suits themselves. Then there's footage of them after they get their powers on a parody of the dating game TV show from real life. That was an actual TV show, but this one is called Let's Make a Match, with the woman picking Ben Grimm out of the lineup of the three of them. Like, I pick contestant number 3, and it's giant Ben Grimm in thing form. This is them powering on their spaceship before they get their powers. Notice the patch on their spacesuits has all 4 of their names on it. This is meant to be footage of them getting ready for their first big mission to space, going around the table, everybody sounding off, with Sue Storm joking about Johnny Storm calling him her baby brother, saying, ladies, he's very single.
That last voice you just heard is my baby brother, Jonathan Storm. And ladies, he is very single.
My guess is they're not going to play this version of Johnny Storm as big of a butthole as Chris Evans' version of Johnny Storm. That was the whole joke of his character, is that he was a really big butthole. Deadpool even made fun of it extensively during the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. During the Comic-Con trailer, this is meant to be mission control with their spaceship lifting off from the launch pad, the Excelsior launch pad. You can see the camera pan around the actual spaceship itself. Then they have a choir singing the Fantastic Four theme song. I don't know if this is what the final theme song for them in the movie is going to be like, or if they'll change it. They do the Fantastic Four old-timey 1960s logo, which transitions into an old-timey Marvel Studios logo that looks like it's from the 1960s. And they also reveal the new title for the movie, Fantastic Four First Steps. The title is actually meant to be a reference to Franklin Richards taking his first steps, like baby's first steps, because he's supposed to be born during the movie, and he's the whole reason why Galactus is supposed to come to planet Earth, because he senses Franklin Richards' power. With Galactus showing up outside the windows of what looks like the Baxter Building on their version of Earth. Galactus just taking a peek inside the Baxter Building, looking to see where everybody is. Like I said, I think part of the idea in the movie is that Galactus is interested in Franklin Richards, like he's the whole reason why he's peeking in the building here, maybe. Here's where we get to the Doctor Doom of it all. Supposedly Doctor Doom isn't meant to be a huge character during this movie, he'll just be referenced at the end of the film, but this was before they revealed that Robert Downey Jr. was going to be playing Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. What might be happening is that they reveal Doctor Doom in the mask, like the concept of Doctor Doom in the background at the end of the movie, and we just don't see that it's Robert Downey Jr. under the mask in this or in the post-credit scene whenever he does show up. My assumption is that they'll wait till Avengers Doomsday to have the reveal where he actually takes the mask off and all the other Avengers characters that are fighting him see that he looks just like their friend who died during Avengers Endgame. Like, wait a minute, it's Tony. But then they have that big WTF reaction where Doctor Doom says, I don't know who Tony Stark is. Like, who are you talking about? That's not me. My name is Victor Von Doom. And proceeds to waste all the main 616 Avengers. And basically turning Avengers 5 into more of a Time Runs Out adaptation, and Secret Wars being a little bit more like the more recent Secret Wars combined with the old Secret Wars, and him becoming a version of God Emperor Doom. The difference with his character though, like he said during the Comic-Con teaser when they revealed him, he said new mask, same task. The same task is basically saving the multiverse, so the idea I think is that in Avengers Doomsday, he thinks he's doing something to save the multiverse, but in doing so, winds up doing a lot of what comic book Time Runs Out Doctor Doom does, destroying other universes in order to preserve what he thinks is left of the multiverse. So part of the idea is that he comes to the 616 universe and says, your universe has to die in order for the multiverse to survive, and the main Avengers are like, no, we're not going to let that happen. Thus the conflict with his character, with him turning into more of a version of God Emperor Doom in Secret Wars, and them having to stop him, like, no, you saved the Earth, but this is not right. Because it winds up turning into more of a version of Battleworld, kind of like The Void. Don't worry, that's kind of getting into the weeds on those movies, so once we get more details, I'll do more videos about that, just because there's still a lot of unanswered questions. But everyone post all your reactions in the comments below, or if you have any questions, or there's any details or Easter eggs you spotted, write them below in the comments. There's a bunch of big stuff coming up. Apparently, Sony Japan just spoiled that Venom is supposed to appear in Spider-Man 4, so I'll do a video for that next. That should be up either later tonight or tomorrow morning. Be sure to enable alerts for my channel so you don't miss any of that. I also just did a video about Venom 4. Click here to learn all about that, and click here for that Spider-Man 4 video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.